Do we? In case it
Sure,
turns
I'm gonna turn the
off.
screen around, but ooh, I don't know. Good question.
Because it's showing me that it's recording, but we can't even see that it's recording.
We can see it through the mirror behind.
I'm gonna head out, get some food, just enjoy.
Okay. Do you folks know where the key is?
I got it.
Key's in the. You got it.
How long have you guys been working together? Are you?
2010.
Are you together? Oh yeah, don't want to get it on camera, right?
Cancel, clear, delete.
Well, this is pretty handy. It's like it's meant for an interview.
Yeah.
Apparently Woody's done many interviews in here.
Oh, all right. That makes sense.
All right, here we go. All right, take one.
Yeah. Nice. Hi guys, I'm Tanya Maher, and although he needs no introduction, I'm here today with the super awesome, superfood charged, charcoal fueled, chaga infused, the most amazing David Avocado Wolfe.
Thank you so much. Great to see you. And it's been a few years since we were together.
So last time you were here was 3 years ago in London, and that time you stayed in my Chelsea, and you were eating, I believe, some of my food, some of Tanya's food.
I think we ate
Oh, you had
all
goji.
of your food.
Yeah, chia goji. I remember that because someone mentioned it at your event, and they were messaging me, and I was in Ecuador running my retreat, and going, David is eating my goji jam in the morning, and telling everybody.
It was a great stopover. We stayed there a few days in the hotel. It was like a hotel, and then downstairs you had your food.
Yeah.
We were so excited that we could go down to the bottom floor of the hotel and get all the food we ever wanted.
So I was so gutted to have missed that, even though I was with my parents at the retreat, but so gutted in fact that a year later I flew over to your Longevity Now conference, and that was literally the best experience ever. It was like everybody in the audience was going, this is, you know, the Super Bowl? I'm like, no, I'm from New Zealand /UK, and they're like, well, now you know the Super Bowl, but this is the Super Bowl of health.
Oh,
and so
right.
literally that was, you know, that's what everyone was talking about. And you could tell people, I mean, everything was so special. Everyone you got together was so special, everything you had to say. I mean, to me, you were like, you should be in the record books for the most researched man alive. That's, you know, that's how awesome and your stuff is.
Right on, thank you.
But also, you know, what's really interesting to me is hearing you then, hearing you yesterday at the event, the underlining of everything you have to say, your message, you know, it's like the result is it's all about gut health. Everything that we do, it's like the healing begins in the gut.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Hippocrates himself said it.
Yep.
3,000 years ago.
It's amazing how we've gotten enough attention on it now that the word microbiome is actually well known.
Exactly.
I mean, that's been like a major breakthrough for us. And this idea that we don't really consist of us, we're really just a farm for bacteria. That's another
And
major
we're mostly
breakthrough.
bacteria,
We're
right?
mostly
We're
bacteria.
90% bacteria.
Definitely more like genetic information in our field is from bacteria. 10 times more genetic information is bacteria that lives on and in us than is actually us.
So, so this is what I was hoping to discuss with you today, like all, you know, as much as we can talk about gut health and what we can do to improve our digestion, because it's such a massive thing. You know, it's really funny, I'm kind of watching the audience, and yesterday, and you talk about longevity, it's all about, you know, you go, if I have charcoal, if I cleanse, and if I do this, and if it makes me, if now I'm going to live to 100 years, but I do all these awesome things, and I live until 140, I mean, wouldn't you want that? And you see people gulping, they're like, you know, bloated and uncomfortable, and a bit sick, and like, I don't know if I want it.
Right, exactly. That's an important part of the conversation is getting to a place where you want to live.
Exactly.
That's an important piece of it, and that's where live food comes in really well. It's like it gives you enough energy that you actually, it flips the program around. A lot of people
when you say live food, you're talking about raw food.
Raw foods,
You're
yeah.
talking about enzymes.
And enzyme-rich food, and juices, and fresh food, and freshly made food, and food that has love in it, and food that comes straight from the garden to you. That's a different energy than what we're normally used to, right? All this processed food, and somebody else makes it, and all that. And what happens is the net result is you have more energy. and then you start overcoming internal barriers that have led to depression, that had led to low energy states, and then you actually want to live. So that's an important first step. And once you get there, then you go, oh, okay, this longevity concept makes sense because I actually do want to live. I actually have a purpose for living. And that's really what we're doing, is we're just bringing people out of that, for lack of a better word, it's probably that morass. You know, it's just like this mud and marsh and, you know, this quicksand that we're in, and getting them to a point where they can stand on their own and they're self-empowered and they know how to actually heal themselves. That's such a critical piece too. And it starts in the gut.
So, you know, for you, it makes perfect sense to kind of do the things you're doing, promoting the things you're doing, and you know, because you wake up feeling good, you wake up feeling healthy and really happy, and same with me. You know, I wake up feeling really good, and I mean, my bowels movements are good. You know, people don't like talking about this, but I love talking about poo. I mean, literally, you know, you say poop, I say poo, and you know, having a little one, I mean, it's all about has she poo today, because it's such a major part of life.
It is.
But we forget.
Yeah.
We forget to check on ourselves. I mean, you know, have we done something? That's the most important part of our everyday.
Yeah.
So if someone wants, or if someone is feeling really bloated and really uncomfortable and waking up really tired, what would you say that they could just do at home to, you know, to
Great.
to
Okay.
be more regular?
Okay, yeah, regular. I love saying that, especially on television. We can all be more regular. This is a great way to say it, is just empower yourself to figure out how to do an enema and get the plug out. And this is something you think, oh no, I have 2 or 3 bowel movements a day, I can't be plugged up or backed up. Yes, you can. Absolutely can. You absolutely are, actually. That's just, you find that out from years of doing enemas and then colonics. I'm on my 5th, I did 5 colonics this year. I'm heading for 6. I'm trying to get 6 in a year at least. You know, at my age, I'm like, okay, I gotta be on this. And every time, even though I'm regular 2, 3, 4, 5 bowel movements a day, every time that I go into colonic hydrotherapist, stuff comes out like hardened material.
But would you space them out, or would you?
They've been spaced out. They've been spaced out.
Would you ever do it like, you know, once a week, like
yes.
really close?
Yeah. I'm heading for that because I'm going to do a long cleanse.
Right.
And when you're cleansing, you want it all out, because at some point you're so far into it, you're like, okay, get everything out. And when you get everything out, you realize an astonishing connection, and that is your clarity of your thoughts and the debris and toxicity that we're carrying within us. Because basically a bowel movement is a detoxification.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so more bowel movements, more detoxification.
Yep.
It's what we all want, really.
And that's why, and I mean, there's a lot of people, you know, we describe people as energy as well. It's like, oh, that person's so toxic for me. But that person's probably toxic for themselves.
Yeah, totally. They're constipated. I mean, constipation, because I grew up in a medical doctor background with my mom and dad, I know what epidemic constipation is.
Yeah.
Right, amongst the population. Most people do not know, or most people think, oh, I go do 1 bowel movement a day, I'm good, I'm not constipated. You're constipated, absolutely. Now what that means is you're holding back debris in your system. Your body goes, we can't get rid of this, or this is too hardened. The bacteria, we don't have enough bacteria to deal with this thing, we'll just leave it. And what ends up happening is we get backed up, and that means it backs up into our lymphatic system. That means the gases, even, you know, we excrete both solid matter, liquid matter, and gas.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. And so do your cells. And so do your cells. And if those gases can't escape, they get backed up into you, and that's one of the most toxic things going.
So like the yeast infections,
Oh,
I mean, that's
God.
such a common thing. I mean, yeast is a living organism, and actually what it does is it basically poops and wheeze inside of you.
Right, that's the worst part of it, of any of these. Lyme's disease, what's the worst thing about Lyme's disease? What it's excreting in your system. What's the worst thing of any of these conditions? Any cancer, like if you're an oncologist, if you've been involved in cancer research, if you've investigated a cancer case or have someone in your family dealt with cancer, you probably have become aware that the cancer itself stinks. It stinks. It's gross and smelly.
Oh my God.
This is what,
Oh my God.
right?
I did not
That
like
tells us right there. It's like, constipation. It's backed up way. So this theory that we've been told, this real brainiac theory of like, oh, we're going to solve cancer by, you know, we're going to get the right antiviral treatment because this cancer has a cancer virus involved in it and all that. get the constipation out first, get the parasites out first, get the backup out first, get the hydration in, drink the juices, get back to a higher energy level so you stand a chance. Otherwise...
But so to get this stuff out, I mean, this keeps coming back to the same thing. You know, people think that, all right, well, I need to detox, and, you know, once a year is enough. I'll do my 1st of January detox, you know, for 3 days, for a week. And then they go on with normal life. And then once a year it keeps happening, and they have such insane detox symptoms. I mean, there is so much pain when
Good point, actually.
when toxins are being released because they're only detoxing once a year. Would you say that? Would you?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you're bringing this up, because when you do start detoxing, all kinds of toxins come out, including mental toxins, emotional toxins, physical toxins, spiritual toxicity, waking up with night sweats. Your mind plays tricks on you, goes, we better stop this because too much stuff's coming out, we have to go back to burgers or whatever the story was. That's a detoxification. When you start craving something you know is toxic for you, that means your body's cleaning it out. And so all of a sudden it's back up, churned up in your blood, all of a sudden your body's going, we need that. And it's kind of the parasite's last gasp. It's saying, oh, we're about to get cleaned out, get those burgers back in here, get that, whatever it is, the chemicals. And so this is another thing. This is what we're facing. And as a human being that's dealing with conflicting information, you got to make a choice. Is the real cause of the epidemic of cancer, autism, unbelievable epidemic of heart disease, stroke, is it really just caused by just some random thing or genetics? Or has the epidemic been caused by the massive amounts of toxicity dumped into our environment, dumped into our minds, emotional toxicity, and perhaps maybe it has something to do with the 5 trillion pounds of chemicals we dump into the environment on Earth every year.
Oh.
Right? It's like, okay, you're going to have to make a choice, because you're going to get other people saying, oh, no, it's nothing to do with that, it's somebody, you know, it's hereditary or whatever. You need to look at the data and go, okay, which makes sense to me. And well, I'll tell you what makes sense to me. We are toxic. I know we are toxic because my life's experience has taught me that. I know what happens when people detoxify and what happens to their life. That's been my whole life's work. So at this point, that's a science experiment that I've been involved in for 25 years. So I know what the results are. And that's why I keep recommending, hey, detoxify, cleanse, get on juices, eat live food, take a lot of enzymes.
So you know how there is like a lot of slim people, and they think, well, I'm
Oh.
really slim, and you know I've got I go to the bathroom like 3 times a day, and it's absolutely fine for me. So I'm not toxic. I don't need to do this. So I work with a lot of clients like this in coaching, and for me, you know, it's really interesting that they're the ones that are actually in the most pain. But so what would you say to slim people about their digestion and about their metabolism? Because those are 2 different things.
Yeah.
Like metabolism and digestion, they're very different.
Yeah, they're very different, right? Okay, well, just because somebody's thin doesn't mean they're not toxic.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important thing.
Yeah.
Just because someone is overweight doesn't mean they're super toxic. They may have just been eating too much, or they may just be constipated, but they may not have very harsh or dangerous chemicals that's backed up into their system. I've met people who are super thin, rail thin, who are some of the most toxic drug addicts I've ever seen, right? Cocaine addicts, all different kinds of alcohol, never really ate a lot of food, but geez, you should look at the connection between alcohol consumption and cancer. There's at least 7 cancers implicated for alcohol consumption. So just because someone's thin doesn't immediately cause me to go, oh, they're fine. No. And you can tell by the quality of their skin, you can tell by the depth of their mineralization, right?
Yeah.
Which is the content and quality of their tissue. You could just grab someone's shoulders and you go, oh, there's rocks in here. This is like, you know, fried factory farm chicken debris that's gotten into their tissue. You know what I mean? It's like,
So
geez.
just because they've got good elimination, it doesn't mean that they're not toxic. I mean,
Yeah.
Digestion is really all about extracting the most out of nutrients, right? So if you give the most nutritious superfood fueled juice to that person, it doesn't mean that they will get the most out of it.
That's
It will just
right.
come out at the other end.
That's well said. I liked how you said that. Is that you brought up something very important. We just had an alarm go off, but it's gone now. Anyway, you brought up something very important, and that is we just can't jump to a conclusion and say, oh, just because this person's thin, just because this person is has eaten well, even the last half of their life, they have been super toxic the first half of their life.
Yeah.
What I'm driving to is that actually detoxification is not a good idea; it's an essential.
Yeah.
It's essential. We're actually, our whole culture is moving that way, even though the antiquated and constipated medical system and the antiquated and constipated dietary systems, they're being left behind. And this is what happens when there's a scientific revolution. And I, by the way, I always differentiate between science, which is the scientific method, and scientism, which is all the beliefs that you're supposed to have if you do science, which I don't buy into, by the way. Scientific method, great, we love scientific method. All the beliefs and stuff, like the pill for every ill. That's a belief. You can't, if you don't believe in the physical pill for every ill theory, you can't do medical experiments and scientific experiments on patients. That's just a complete load of BS. Right?
I'm
So,
glad you said it.
yeah, it's important to say that because we are all, I get it, we grew up in a quote-unquote scientismic civilization where things like the Big Bang are taught to us as facts. Things like evolution are taught as facts. Not that creationism is a fact, by the way. We don't know. It's a theory. They're all theories, so you can't believe in them as facts. So when you're doing science, you can't say, oh, this is now a fact. It's just a probability. Or we just playing with probabilities. And what I know from working with people is that the probability that if we give you an enema, you're going to be happier. I can
So, but do you
definitely
think
feel
an
that.
enema though is like strong enough? I mean, an
No.
enema, no, exactly.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
just a good start. And,
So when you get colonics, it's about 40 liters going through.
right, yeah.
But still, they don't always get to your colon. I mean,
Yeah,
you could be so blocked up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So that's.
That's why it's a good to have. Like I go to Tracy Piper in New York, who I love. You know, Piper Center. If you're ever in New York City, there's amazing colon hydrotherapists in this city, in the city of London.
Look at this.
I'm gonna go over to stay with Woody, and he's gonna have we're gonna get the whole thing down in for colonics right there, and massage and acupuncture and everything. He said he's gonna dial it in for at the house. It's gonna be there.
That's nice.
It's gonna be good. Okay, you ready?
You're going.
Yeah. We're talking about water.
Okay.
And yeah, drinking warm water. You know,
Yeah.
for a lot of people, it's the warm water that gets them going. And I'm one of those people. It's
Yeah.
like warm water
It's
without
most people.
anything.
Most people. I mean,
Right.
my research has shown, and I learned this from a colon hydrotherapist, and he showed me with various different people who are getting colonics that the warm water causes much better release. This is Persian wisdom, Chinese wisdom. It goes back thousands of years. People react to warm water better. They get hydrated better from warm water. And what we recommend, it's the old Persian way of living, which is, I'm half Persian, so I bring that in.
Yep.
Sea salt, water, lemon. Sea salt, warm water, and lemon. And then we're adding a third or
And
a
why
fourth
sea
thing.
salt, not Himalayan salt?
Okay, so sea salt is much more living. You've probably seen that. If you've ever had sea salt at home, it gets up on the side of jars. It's wet. It'll get up on the lid. It'll try to escape out the grooves of a lid, and you know, it's like it's moving around in there, even if it's sitting on a shelf.
And is it from a certain ocean or?
I like Icelandic sea salt. I'm an Icelandic sea salt fan because I know exactly where it comes from. There's no shipping lanes there. There's no pollution. It's a
Yeah.
completely wild environment at the Arctic Circle. So that to me is my favorite. But you know, you have
What
to make
about black Himalayan salt?
Black Himalayan salt usually has, okay, so there's different things that can be added to salt. We add, in Hawaii, we add lava rock to the salt. And there's also charcoal that can be added to the salt. There's also one of the Himalayans, it's a sulfur compound that's added, it's a black sulfur compound. Can't remember the exact compound that it is, but it makes the salt black.
Oh,
It's called the black salt.
Would charcoal do the job?
Charcoal
If
does
you
the
just
trick.
add that, okay.
Yeah, charcoal does the trick. Charcoal salt is really where we're at now. That's what we recommend.
Yeah.
Is that you want to go with a sea salt, warm water, lemon, and then a little bit of charcoal.
So what's a little bit?
250 milligrams to start.
What is that? What is that?
So what does that look
What
like?
does that
So
look like
the
in a
typical
spoon?
capsule is 500 milligrams. Like an average
Okay.
size capsule, you know, if you've ever seen a capsule for any pill, it's about 500 milligrams. We're talking about half that to start, just very small amount.
It
We're
is such a
talking
small
like,
amount, it's nothing.
you know,
Yeah.
it's less than a teaspoon.
But still, your whole drink looks so black, right?
Yes,
It's like
yeah.
the tiniest little amount, and it looks like it's full.
It's full, and that's where you start because you don't want to constipate yourself because charcoal is drying.
Yeah.
And it's a drawing agent, and so it's an excellent detoxification substance, and the simplest one, and the most natural. And remember, we're talking about like cancer stinks.
Yeah.
You can tell when people have had too much protein because they stink. There's a smell, and what kills that smell? Well, it's like the same thing that kills your smell in a compost pit. You
But
throw
is that
ash
animal
on it
protein,
and charcoal.
right?
Yeah,
It's
animal
not just-
protein.
yeah.
You can't get that much. There's no way you can eat enough spirulina to
Right.
get enough protein to stink.
Yeah. Well,
It's
the
not gonna happen.
spirulina stinks, but man, you just need to to add it with the right stuff. I mean, in New Zealand, right, spirulina is the most popular drink. It's just called spirulina. You go to the cafes, so 8 years ago even, before I came here, I knew about spirulina because you go to any cafe in New Zealand and you just literally order a spirulina.
Amazing.
It's called spirulina. So you order it and they make it fresh and it's just a banana, pineapple juice and spirulina powder. They've been doing that for so many years.
That's
and
amazing.
over here, nobody has heard about it 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So now everyone knows
It's
about it.
a little different now. We've got the superfoods out on the street here.
Yeah.
Which is great. London's got superfoods on the street and people are aware of it. It's great what's happening. And we're having a breakthrough. We're having a nutrition breakthrough. We really are. And one of the things that's also happening in soil research and in compost research, because a lot of people are composting all their scraps from their food now, the smell, what do you do to kill that smell? You get the charcoal on it or ash, right? So the wood ash that we have from our fires, what goes out in the compost, and it kills the smell, and then that stops the animals from coming.
When I used to do a lot of sprouting at home, I would actually put spirulina and chlorella on there, onto the soil. And honestly, the sprouts would grow faster, they would taste so different, and they would just make me feel so different than just normal.
We use spirulina as a fertilizer on my farm in Hawaii. We brought 600 kilos of spirulina into our farm. And let me tell you, when spirulina rots, this is from on the Big Island of Hawaii, there is an amazing spirulina farm, Cyanotech.
Wow,
And
so you didn't even travel far?
Didn't travel far. We wanted to get some of that Big Island mana onto our island. You know, Big Island has mana, it has some forces of nature, very powerful. But you can't take rocks from the Big Island. It's like a taboo. You know, it's like certain things you can't do. But we thought, well, we can go to the spirulina farm. They'll ship it over. So we called them up, said, can you ship over 600 kilos of spirulina? They said, sure. I guess how much it cost us? $600.
No! Oh my
$600,
God,
yeah.
no!
And that was $200 to ship it. It cost me $800. And
But
then,
could you just use it as normal spirulina? That was, it didn't have to go
well,
through
it was the
refining.
stuff they swept off the floor.
Right.
In their factory, you know, I was like, can you guys sweep it off the floor and give us a deal? And they're like, sure. And so we got, it was, I wouldn't eat it, but our plants ate it, and many of our trees, including many of our chocolate trees, were sprouted in spirulina manure.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, so charcoal is big for detoxing. So lots of water is big for detoxing. Fiber.
That's another very big key. So we
Would
love
you say,
juices.
what's the best, I mean, I know lots of vegetables and everything like that, but chia seeds? Would you say chia seeds?
Chia seeds are great fiber. Berries are great fiber. I'm a very big fan of cherries. I'm a very big fan of the stone fruits because you have this great soluble fiber, lots of pectin, lots of antioxidants, and it tastes good.
Would you say, going back to chia seeds, because there's two varieties.
Yep.
The darker one would have more antioxidants.
That's right. Darker one has more antioxidants, darker one has more zinc. Darker foods, we know actually that black foods versus, say, foods that are the same, like black beans versus red beans. Black beans have more zinc. Black foods have more zinc. And this is that connection in ancient Taoism, goes back thousands of years, that black foods cause you to live longer.
Yep.
So that has led us to, this, and that's why charcoal is so associated with longevity. In animal research, charcoal causes longevity more than any other single ingredient you can add into the food.
And do you know what's funny? This whole time we're talking about gut health, but we said nothing about probiotics.
Yeah.
Because it's not all up to probiotics,
Right, is it? Yeah.
So, I mean, probiotics is so key, but you can't just shove a whole lot of probiotics inside of you, inside of a toxic body, and expect to feel good. So you need to get this
It actually
stuff
can
out
cause a
first.
reaction. You can actually get overwhelmed by probiotics and get flushed, and your body goes, whoa, what's going on? And so that's another thing. It's just, that's why we say small amount of charcoal in the beginning, small amount of anything, even spirulina, any of these things, because we're not used to it. So we've got to gradually go, okay, let me open myself up to this. Let me see how my body reacts. Sometimes we find something that is, all the books say is great, just doesn't agree with us.
Yeah. No,
And sometimes we find something
No, and
that,
I love it. I mean, you always talk about, being so intuitive and really, but you can become more intuitive when you're clean and clear. When your body, when you don't have the toxins interfering with, with the messages that you're born with.
well said.
Yeah.
That's that. To me, the system that we're in, which is really, it's like they constantly get us to brainwash this way or brainwash that way or whatever, the system is trying to do to us. To snap out of that program, we call it get with the D program, to snap out of that programming, you really have to clean yourself out. And then you go, oh, it's like science and scientism. Most people are so toxic, they can't understand the difference between the scientific method and scientism, the belief systems that are force-fed us and says, this is a fact and science has proven this, and this is a fact and science has proven this. It's like, do some independent research
Yeah.
and you'll find out it's just a theory.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So you were completely detoxed. So what's something that we can do now to really maintain good gut health?
Okay, so a really important piece of the puzzle is your gut needs to rest, it needs to relax, and one of the great,
So
probably one of the
would you
great
say-
tools is give your body a break. Give your
And
body a break.
enzymes? Would
Enzymes,
enzymes
well, I
help?
love enzymes. I mean, if you want to talk about supplements, we can get into that. But I want to get into this. Just giving your body a little bit of a break. Here's
A
something
break from eating?
from eating.
Okay.
Yeah, to restore balance.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another one that comes up. It's like, what do I eat to get my body back in balance? We used to say this: nothing is better for pain. Don't do anything. Yeah, give your body a rest and make sure you don't eat before bed. And then that way your gut has time to heal and restore balance. Basically, when we take a rest from food, when we fast, right, we're breaking the fast with breakfast. The longer you can go without food in the morning, if you feel balanced, if you feel like your blood sugar's not going to bottom out on you, really the better off you are, because you're going to come into balance naturally. Your body's always going to tend towards homeostasis.
What do you do to break the fast?
I never break a fast with like a meal. Like this morning I had salt water, which was wonderful. And then I had, what else did I have? I had a wonderful kind of smoothie thing that one of the gals made for us downstairs. It was really good. It was like a kind of a chocolate mousse smoothie. And then I had a little bit of sacred chocolate later. And what else? I think that's basically it. I always take my favorite stuff, like medicinal mushrooms. So I take a bunch of medicinal mushrooms.
And you put everything in the smoothie?
Put everything in the smoothie, yeah. And then you brought something. You brought me a turmeric golden milk.
Yeah.
And so then I put
And I saw you spike it.
Yeah, I spiked it with green powder. So I
It's
took,
freshly
this is a really good
squeezed
way to do it.
turmeric juice and almond milk.
And I was like, that's not enough. Put this stuff in there. I throw the whole book at everything. You have to be careful about that because not everybody has a metabolism like I do, right? So some people have to go easy.
That's a very good point. So, I know, so you're like this dynamite, and you know, everything you're talking about is like, oh my gosh, okay, detoxing. I'm now feeling like I should have done it one
Right?
step at a time.
Yeah, I've been there with that before where I was like, yeah, you know, I had a friend stay with me one time who's rather famous in the UK, Shazzy.
Yeah.
And, you know her. And I had made some crazy concoction with all this superfoods, super herbs, teas, hot chocolate thing, whatever. It was like this crazy like concoction. And I was drinking it and she was behind me like, you know, like wasn't looking at her. I was like talking to her, but I was facing the kitchen and, you know, drinking this and facing the kitchen. I was like, could you imagine we just fed this to someone off the street? They'd probably be knocked out. And I looked behind and she was knocked out.
No.
Yeah, she was
not.
knocked out.
Oh my
She was
God.
like,
No, she
yeah,
was
it was a little bit too much. So even if you're an expert in this stuff, you got to be careful. You can't just go, well, as we say, you can't just go too berserk.
Yeah. Okay, so not too berserk, so some, you know, is there something you can just get in a supermarket to just help your gut health?
Sure, berries are excellent.
Yeah,
Chia
okay.
seed, wonderful. There's a lot to be said for just the simple green vegetables. Simple green vegetables like lettuce and spinach and kale. That's the fiber. The structural material of the vegetable is your fiber, and that's a drawing agent too, like charcoal is. And as it moves through, it pushes through the cheese, the meat, the eggs, the stuff that has no fiber. There's no fiber in chicken. There's no fiber in meat. There's no fiber in fish.
Yeah. And how would you know that your digestion is improving?
Well, you're going to have more bowel movements. If you get to a point of having 2
Yeah.
bowel movements in the morning, then you're
In the
good
morning,
shape.
both
In
in
the
the
morning,
morning.
yeah.
Oh.
You have a bowel movement, an hour later you have another, then your day starts. If you get to
Right.
that place, I think you're in good shape. That's my personal feeling about it. And then, you know, they say, and Ann Whitmore used to say this, and Dr. Walker used to say this, if you have a meal, pretty soon thereafter you should have a bowel movement. It's kind of after the morning starts. So after lunch, after dinner, it should continue.
But would you not say, you know, you need to break through that food and then get the most out of it? So it's people with really good elimination, with really, not elimination, digestion, metabolism, that can go to the bathroom really quickly. But if you want to get the most nutrients out of the stuff, is it still right to have it quickly after a meal?
Well, what's happening is if you you should really be eating 2 meals a day. And then
Yeah.
rest like liquids. You know, that's really what the best is. When you're young, when you get older,
Sure.
it's 1 meal a day. That's just how it is. You know, it's hard to understand that when you're 30, but when you get to like 50, all of a sudden you're like, wait, I can only
Yeah,
really have
sure.
1 meal a day. And then what happens is that it's pushing out the thing that was before, right? It's the meal before.
Okay, that's
And
what
so
I was
you know, you had enough time to digest that. It's time for that to go out, and then
Nice.
the new thing comes in.
And you would just feel good. I mean, you'll be able to see it in your skin, you'll be able to see it in your eyes. I mean,
Absolutely.
everything. I mean, it's like everything is energy. You know, we're attracted to certain people that shine a certain energy. Well, it's like when you're clean, you shine a certain energy. Everybody wants to be around you. You just like magnetize people, right? It's like everything transforms. Your life transforms. That's what they say about your life transforming. Because not only do you feel so good on the inside, I mean, your relationships change. Your job opportunities change, you know, like fertility, you know, whatever it is you're after,
Yep.
everything kind of magnetizes all the good stuff starts to happen because
It's really what people want. I mean, what you're describing is exactly what people want, and what we're describing is how to get it. Right? So this is that thing that we thought, oh, we have to struggle in school or battle people in our job or whatever. But actually, it's, you know, it's what I did an event with Richard Branson one time, and he said something that was so profound. He said, "You can't do it yourself, so you better have a good team." How do you have good communication? How do you have a good team? How do you attract the right people if you yourself are toxic?
Yeah.
Right? It's very hard to succeed and overcome barriers of toxicity, barriers of lack of charisma, because you got stuff busting out of your skin because of, you know, you're so backed up or toxic or constipated or whatever.
That's such a good point. Richard Branson, isn't he awesome? I mean, he just wrote a book. All right, first one was Losing His Virginity.
Yeah.
This one is Finding It.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I mean, I've read a bunch of Richard Branson's books. I don't know how many he has out. I was actually, you know, at that event, I was with Barbara DeAngelis, she's an amazing woman. And she's done many successful books and been on TV many years in America. And she said to me, he's like an enlightened master. Like, he's enlightened. Look at this guy. Because the things he says, I mean, you know, regardless of what your opinion is about business, this guy's a master of business. And anybody who's a master in any field, I'm interested in what they have to say.
Awesome. It's been like the best day. Yesterday and today.
Today.
And honestly, thank you so much. You're amazing. Your energy's amazing. I catered at your event yesterday, and everyone that was coming, you know, like leaving afterwards, going like, "It was the best day ever." No wonder that's his tagline. It's the best day ever. It's like every time we just hear what he's got to say. You know, you're doing really amazing things, and thank you for bringing it to London.
London is a great city, and I've got to tell you, if you get a chance to visit London, please do. What an amazing haven of vegetarianism, veganism, raw foods, juices, organic. It's just like a heaven over here. And one of the things too is people are open here, and that's really great.
Yeah,
so when you're around open people like you that are you're willing to transform, you're willing to change, you're willing to say, hey, I did the old way, let's do it the new way. And what a great way to live your life, because then you always have new and exciting adventures ahead. Yes, thank you, Tanya. Mwah.